There you go. Okay, so might take a second or two, but Mark is leaving the stream track.
Okay. And does this mean we're on? Hello, everybody. If there's anybody there, probably isn't, but if there is, welcome. My name is Geczy. I am the co-founder and lead programmer of BattleGoat Studios, and welcome to the first ever BattleGoat Studios developer live stream. If anybody actually shows up, it might not be the last ever, but we'll see how that goes. Always one step at a time. A few things about this have been completely unrehearsed, so we'll actually see if anything actually works correctly. So my apologies in advance for if things don't, but we will see how things go. Hold on a sec. Just got to remember some stuff here. Still setting up. Is it one of the other passwords? Excuse us while we just get things going. Okay. Okay, so far so good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be playing through probably what is one of my favorite scenarios of the ones we've designed, and there actually have been a lot over the years, because as those of you know the history of the games that we've done, the Supreme Ruler games, we started with Supreme Ruler 2010, which was actually released now 12 years ago. So it's been a bit of time, but our basic design that we've gone through with our games since was created with Supreme Ruler 2020. That's where you could play the entire world at once. In 2010, and let me turn down our sound a little bit here for the game sound. That's our menu sound. So in 2010, you could play individual scenarios one at a time. Starting in Supreme Ruler 2020, we started simulating the entire world all at once, and that's where the engine that's become the key defining feature of our BattleGoat games has begun. And then since 2020, which was based in the future, at the time, it seemed like the distant future, 12 years from the time we were developing it, but it's become more recently closer and closer as time goes on. And then we've done a Cold War version, Supreme Ruler 1936, and Supreme Ruler Ultimate that's combined all our content together into one game. So between those games, we've covered scenarios that range from the 1930s up into the future. So there is a lot to play with, but definitely one of my favorites is some of the World War II scenarios that are coming up. So that's what I'm going to be playing. But I'm going to and actually one thing for those of you who might have some interest in the history of both the Supreme Ruler franchise and where it comes from. It's actually, we like to say it's one of the oldest continuing developed franchises in gaming. The first Supreme Ruler program actually came out before the first Civilization game. And I think I actually got it here somewhere. Okay. Let's see if I can get it on the screen here. Oh, right side up. So this was actually the original Supreme Ruler game. It was actually created for a text-based game for the TRS-80 microcomputer. It's actually was done on a laser printer and pieced together by myself. Oops, I lost the registration card there. With that quality artwork on the cover, also done by myself. So that was what the Supreme Ruler as a concept developed with originally, and then since then We've obviously gone a fair bit further as we developed it for the PC and using more and more features. So again, for people who are joining us, I'm just getting used to what's going on here. My name is George Geczy. I also have with me Eric Burchick. He's one of the team that's, there he is, all looking festive. First of all, big thank you to Eric for the facilities for doing the live stream. So he's actually has a YouTube channel of his own, and he has a little bit of a little gig here going with the setup. So I thank you very much, Eric, for getting things available for me to use for this and setting things up. He's also attempting to monitor some stuff and what's going on, and will try to keep me on track with the questions that are coming in from people on the chat. And oh yes, and of course Eric also did the trailer for Supreme Rule Ultimate. So if you see the trailer on the Steam page or on BattleGoat's YouTube page, that's Eric's handiwork. Actually, the trailer for Ultimate is one of my favorites, and I think he did a really great job with that. So thank you, Eric. And so I think I don't know if there are any. Let me see if I can figure out if there are any questions. Something about shoveling snow. No, that's not really a question. I forgot who he is and where I am. Well, I do that very often. Thank you. And somebody loves our games. Yes, I thank you very much. I love our games too. Somebody imagined me with a beard. Okay, that's a little unusual, but maybe someday. Actually, when I did completely unrelated to gaming, but I did have a bit of a beard once, and I was traveling Europe, and the French detained me, possibly as a potential terrorist. So that's maybe why I don't wear a beard anymore. And I am very often locked away in a room with dim lights. Okay, so let's see if I can flip myself over here to the game, because I have to remember how to do this. And nothing comes up on the screen, and that's when I go, Eric, figure out what's wrong.
Oh, yeah. Do you mind alt-tabbing? Okay. It's just... properties. Oh, there we go. Should pop up.
And Eric says it should pop up, and he's looking hopeful. And it continues to look hopeful.
Okay. Click on
Oh, there we go. Okie dokie. And so I'm gonna. So occasionally, when I remember, I'll take a look at some of the questions, or maybe Eric will point out some to me as well. So if I do miss a few that you think are terribly important, you might want to, I don't know, repeat them. Don't shout too much. I do see one mentioned here, 64-bit support. I mean, I will be talking a little bit today about some of the technology that went into Supreme Ruler and that was built with it. One of the things that Supreme Ruler it's not built as a 64-bit game. It is a 32-bit game. There are some features, technically, that a 64-bit game would benefit from, like a game like Supreme Ruler, that has a pretty big memory footprint for storing its units and its graphics and so on, could benefit from using more than 4 gigabytes of memory, which is a limit of 32-bit games. But beyond that, there isn't going to be a lot of performance benefits to that, but the memory benefit would be one. On the downside, it would create some significant compatibility issues in trying to get our existing games, like existing save game files and so on, working, or at least understanding between 32 and 64. So it isn't something that's worth the development effort. So unfortunately, while it would be nice, it's one of those things that really doesn't pay off a lot when you're developing a game engine that's already built for 32 bits. So let's see. So I'm actually going to go into there's a couple of different ways you can play some of these scenarios for those of you who are familiar with Supreme Ruler. So you can play them as a sandbox game, which really has no fixed objectives necessarily. You can play them as a campaign, where you are given objectives and guidance a little bit more, and also as scenarios, which are like very short versions of the campaign. You're given a fixed thing to succeed at. I'm actually, even though I'm sort of playing what's generally a scenario type of situation where I'm trying to accomplish one specific thing, I'm actually going to start it from the sandbox. And the one I'm going to pick is the 1941, the World at War sandbox. It's It is the one that is designed for what I think is one of the particularly interesting times of history that Supreme Ruler covers, where the way World War II is underway. Germany has had its initial successes in defeating Poland and France, and is turning its attention to attack the Soviet Union. It is, in my opinion, it is one of the more significant historical events just because of the size and the strength of the world powers that were clashing against each other. We really haven't seen either in the past before World War II or in the time since such large and powerful industrial and military forces facing off. And so it is one of the ones that I think is a very interesting point, a turning point of history. So World at War. Now, one of the things, some people don't spend a lot of time looking at the options, and we do give a lot of customization options. I mean, there are in the game settings, the different types of fine tuning that you can do. One that I suggest to everybody is to turn up the military difficulty. I mean, not for new players, but once you've gotten used to the system. A lot of people complain that the AI does this and that and might not be as aggressive or be as interesting, and then they've not turned up the military difficulty. And one of the things about the AI in Supreme Ruler is it doesn't cheat. So when you turn up the difficulty, it doesn't peek past the line fog of war. It doesn't give itself free units or anything like that. So it doesn't do those things, but all the features of the AI are only active when the military difficulty is set to very hard. And there are a few other adjustments it does, like the AI gets generally a little bit better on its morale and so on. But the key element of when the military difficulty is turned up is that it makes all the features of the AI operational, basically. Economic and diplomatic difficulty, that's more of an element of fine-tuning the game. Some people like diplomatic difficulty normal or even lower, so that their work with trades and relationships and treaties is easier. Economic difficulty also makes the game harder to play from the economic level, so it all depends on your personal likes to it. And I'm not going to go through all the game settings, but one of the ones I do want to point out is that one is the military difficulty. Definitely an important element if you feel that the game is either not as challenging as you would like it to be or as aggressive necessarily. One of the other ones, and we stuck it right here, and if you follow the game on the forum, it's has a fair bit of a controversy to it, is the world volatility. And starting with the update we did last summer, there was a lot of requests from our community to make the Supreme Ruler more aggressive, to make the AI more, maybe not even necessarily challenging, but more active, more interesting, more unpredictable. So we really upped the use of this volatility setting in the summer, and that actually caused some side effects. First of all, when it's set, when we changed the default to medium, which is it is now on most of our sandboxes, it meant that a lot of things played ahistorically. It did not follow a historical pattern. So when you play the 1936 scenario with world volatility medium or higher, it actually tends to result in Germany declaring war much earlier than they did historically, and a lot of things really going a little weird and off the rails, and that again was sort of by design, but it had a strange effect, especially for new players. And one of the things we're looking at is maybe adjusting some of the defaults here. Like for 1936, maybe the default should be either low or none, and then have players be able to change it. Also with the update, and I'm playing the version 75 build, which is actually right now on Steam in beta, but I toned that down a little bit, so its effects aren't as one-sided and as drastic as they were, unless you increase the volatility very high. In this case, because I'm playing sort of a fixed scenario that I don't really want a lot of off-the-rails things going, I'm actually going to set the volatility to none. Here it's sort of Germany against the Soviet Union. I don't really care about tackling the rest of the world right now, so I'm going to set the volatility level down on that. And so let's see. So before I start into things, what else? Will there ever be a new Supreme Ruler game? Well, that's an excellent question. Our original answer to that was, this is called Supreme Ruler Ultimate, not Supreme Ruler Penultimate, and so one would think that this was going to be the last one, and that was part of original plan, was that this was going to be the last game using the Supreme Ruler engine. What's happened is that two things are happening. Number one is we have a player community that continues to play and support our game, and we really appreciate that. Both the people who support our game, give feedback, help others who are just buying the program by answering questions on the BattleGoat forums or Steam forums. All of that is really important to us and is really something that we look at as it's a community that we're really lucky to have and supporting our game so strongly. The other thing that's happening is the game has what people in the industry call a long tail. It does keep selling. Ultimate's been released now, I think about 2 years. I forget exactly how long it's been, but and certain 1936, which is the similar one that's just with the World War II content. So both those games, continue to have a following of existing and new players, and amongst those, there are people who are asking us to do more significant things like adding new content or creating more modding tools and so on. So we are looking at the possibilities. Unfortunately, I can't really announce anything right at this moment, but there is, some people are even suggesting we just set up, a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo or whatever to get people to be able to almost give us money to continue our development. That isn't really the best approach, we don't think, but there is a desire to be able to put in some work, create more content, and look at what some of the elements that the people, that players have requested. And so we're currently investigating that, and maybe keep an eye open for some announcements that might be coming up in the next few weeks. It is we are hearing people's desire on that. And hold on a sec. Oh yeah, and we do have some giveaways. So Eric is suggesting that we give away something. So we actually have to, so there's two types of giveaways, and then because we have one for the existing players. Let me switch out of my mode here if I can figure out how to do this right. Okay, there's back me. Because yeah, we have somewhere here. We have BattleGoat t-shirts. Well, two. We have two BattleGoat t-shirts. However, one thing is if you are interested in the BattleGoat t-shirt, you will end up with literally a target on your back because that's the way the shirt is designed, big target. So we got a couple of BattleGoat t-shirts that we can give out, and also we have one lucky winner. We have the deluxe BattleGoat denim shirt. I don't know if denim is still in style or not, but hey, it has the BattleGoat logo on it, so that would make it in style all the time. For people who either don't have Supreme Ruler yet, who are watching, and thank you, or else if you want to give one to a friend and spread the joy, then we also have a number of Supreme Ruler Ultimate keys to give out, and I have no idea how the give out thing is going to work. So Eric, how are we going to do this? He says something about randomized. I don't know. We'll let Eric figure it out. So as long as I if people type in chat, then if people chat something, Eric will do some magic and select somebody to get a t-shirt. So let's do that. So I don't know how it's going to work. I'll let Eric figure it out, and I'll just keep looking at some of the messages here, and Eric will give out a t-shirt to somebody. And no, the clothing is not made out of goat hair. Oh, actually, there is one more item, and this is actually there is one other item which I think we'll give away towards the end of the stream. So you'll have to stick around. But let me. The last item that we'll give out is one of the rare and elusive BattleGoats. These creatures are rarely seen in public. there is actually one in the Valve offices. Valve, somewhere in the Steam offices, there is a free-range BattleGoat wandering around for the last couple of years. I don't know where he's ended up nowadays. He used to be in Steam Europe, so I don't know exactly if he's migrated to North America yet or not. But so we will give out one of the elusive BattleGoats. There haven't been too many given out. I know there's been a few people who've been with us since like 2005, our first release, that we did send a couple out to. I think we sent some out to the press too, but I don't know. That didn't really get us a lot of coverage. So I don't know what maybe the BattleGoats bit them or something. But the elusive BattleGoat will be available for some lucky person towards the end. Okay, so let me switch back to here. Oops, let me switch back to there. And there we go. And so what else we got? Yeah, just so, and where's everybody hiding? Well, I'm here. But just so you know, BattleGoat's always been a small studio as well. I mean, we've always had, ranging between 5 and 10 people working on our games. And so my partner co-founder is David Thompson. He's done a lot of the writing, scenario design, and so on of the games right since the very beginning. Chris Latour, for those of you who have been on the forums, you're probably very familiar with him. Stefan Kor has done a lot of our great graphics work and so on. So it's been a very strong team that's done some great work, I think. But what else? I think I missed a couple of questions I've scrolled off on the chat. So if I missed one of your earlier questions, you might have to repeat it, because I'm going to sort of get started on this scenario here. So one of the things about this starting the Germany on the Soviet Union, the Operation Barbarossa, as it was a drive that they intended to do a couple of things. Of course, conquer the Soviet Union was the basic one. The intention was to drive on Moscow, though those of you who are familiar with history knows that there were some deviations to the original plan that caused them to take some detours in the Ukraine, and some feel that slowed them down from the ultimate target. In Supreme Ruler, when playing it very hard, I feel accomplishing this, taking Moscow before the end of December is difficult, and so it is a one of the scenarios that I do like to play. As you see, in this case, we have the weather model turned on. I usually do turn off the weather overlay just so I can see the terrain a little bit more clearly. But one of the important things, and this is one of those mysteries, well, not necessarily a mystery, but one of the things about strategy games of this sort is that effects like weather and so on are there, but sometimes people don't always understand how much of an effect they have. And so when people are designing strategy games and you have a mechanic such as weather, you want it to have an effect, but you also don't want effects to be mysterious. And that's so you don't necessarily, if your units are slowing down, for instance, because it's muddy or because it's snowy, you're not always given the feedback on why that's happening. And so that's one of those things that's always difficult when you're designing the games in general and strategy games, is to balance that type of mechanic. Let's see here. So I'm going to actually get started. So what I tend to do is I tend to start time rolling at a slower rate. One of the things... Reinforcements. Yeah, they always need reinforcements. One of the things that you'll see on a game such as this is as you... I actually forgot what I was thinking here as I'm watching some of the units going. Let's get some of these guys moved up to the front here. Now, there obviously are a lot of other things going on in the background, even though I'm focusing on this one front. So I usually, I was going to say, the game I'm doing here, since it is meant as a shorter scenario, the 6 months to the end of the year, either I make it to Moscow or I don't focus on my long-term building. When you're playing a campaign game or a longer sandbox, you're going to focus on your economy, on your relationships with the other regions, things like that. In this case, I am actually more interested in just that initial blitz, getting my units, to their objective. So one of the things I'm going to take initiative off on from the AI on all the land and air units. I'm going to reduce the naval initiative. I don't want them to go too crazy. one of the things you can do is when you do hear noises going on, you can hit the tab key and just move to different parts of the map very quickly so you can see what's going on. Here I can actually see, somewhere in North Africa there's a little bit of stuff happening, so I'm actually just gonna back these units off. Actually, I'm gonna adjust the sound down a little bit. Sound controls. And then get back in there. And so again, when there is combat noises, you're not sure what part of the world, the tab key is sort of a quick way to get around and see. Can move these guys forward. Basically, just moving up some of my guys to get ready for their surprise attack. Some of the other things when I'm playing a shorter scenario, I would generally go in and give my ministers certain preset priorities. I'm generally not too worried about what I'm going to give my diplomatic minister. Maybe have him focus on some military units. On the finance side, more stuff going on here. Let's see, where's the... Yeah, Tobruk. There's always stuff going on in there. Let's tell these guys I don't really care about what that part of the world right now. Just gonna turn down the sound a little more. Oops. Options. Because those explosions can get so noisy sometimes. Okay. Oh yeah, so back to my finance minister. A little bit more important there. I don't really want to run out of money, so I want him to what do I want him to do? Don't really care about my social programs right now. We're in wartime. People got to get used to that. So increase the treasury, increase revenues. That'll and both of those will engage some significant sort of tax policies that will generate at least short-term flows of cash. Generally, those aren't necessarily good for the long-term view. Law enforcement as well. When I capture new territories, it's going to be useful to reduce the frequency of partisans and other things. Definitely don't care about social spending. Resources. There's one of the areas that's pretty important here is to you want to where are we here? Military materials, and it's already checked. Because if you don't have the cabinet guy with a military materials priority, he might sell that stuff for profit, and we're going to need things like our military goods and our oil and so on. Increased domestic prices also has the benefit of reducing domestic demand for a lot of things, and gives us the benefit of basically a short-term benefit to our stocks, though long-term it's going to be an issue where that isn't going to be best for your economy. Research. Again, in a short game like this, I'm actually not too concerned about the research. Sometimes I might even completely reduce its funding because I know that my intention is a 6-month scenario, a 6-month game here. Although in this case that is a little bit unrealistic, so I'm just going to let the minister figure something out. Defense, however, I do want to stick some items into my my queue here. Obviously, infantry, they're the most common units that you're going to need and sacrifice on the front. There are different types. The basic mounted infantry at 14 days is sort of the grunts of the force. The walking infantry I don't really like using because they're just too slow to move around in a modern battle. Engineers are used a lot, but because they are strong at resolving like people who are garrisons that are stuck in cities and so on. But at 54 days, it does take a while for them to take hold. And then one of the things as well, even though I have taken full control of my army, there was a comment about you watch out for a Dieppe, can't let a foothold happen. Sometimes there will be other attacks in the background here too, so it is wise to make sure that I'm not entirely focused away. Sometimes I would put some units, increase initiative and put some units onto the side. And sorry about that. Eric was saying I should check the chat occasionally. Other than I appoint generals to battle groups. Actually, that's an interesting comment. That generals and even a headquarters type unit is something that throughout all our games we have talked about, many times, and had thought about designing, but it's a very difficult one to implement without creating an extremely complex set of user interfaces. So that's something that I wish we had been able to accomplish, because I think it would have added something to the game. But on the long term, it would have also made the game even more complex. And of course, people know we already have a pretty complex game to go. So I've added some infantry to our my production queue here. I'm also adding some artillery. The towed artillery are generally the best value for your combination of strength and movement. So, 210 millimeter. This wasn't used as often during the war, but it is a very strong artillery unit. And there are also some differences when you check the artillery about the range, and sometimes the artillery range is actually an important element. Sometimes the range will actually get you 1 hex further in shooting, though sometimes you will need technologies to do that with. Let's see what else we got here. 2020 is the only good Supreme Ruler game. Well, I mean, and one of the things, both Ultimate has 2020 content in it, though we did make some design changes in the way the user interface in the game works in some elements, and of course some people like that, some people don't. And with any other changes like that, there are always trade-offs. I mean, Supreme Ruler 2020, for its time, I think had a really innovative interface and an elegant way of doing certain things, but also had some limitations in the level of detail we could put into the interface without getting too complex, getting overwhelming players. I think I'm just about ready to surprise the Russians here. So what I'm going to do, the ever popular war declarations, both on their we have their satellite states of Lithuania, Latvia, and so on, and then the Soviet Union itself. So ordinarily, I probably would launch maybe an air strike in first, but I'm actually so I could plan this a little more carefully if I was doing this game a little more slowly. But here I'm actually just going to declare war on them and then start moving in. No, and by declaring war on the USSR, I've already declared war on its sub guys. So one of the things, ordinarily also if I was planning to do things in a more organized way, I'd line up my units more and with more detail on the border here. Armor first, then backed by some infantry, backed by some artillery. But I am doing this a little bit more haphazard. One of the things I can do is I'll select an armored unit here, because I actually want to add, where's the right button I'm looking for? I'm going to add the other tanks, so everything that's of that same class in the view into my selection. And so now I've actually gotten a selection that has all my armor in it together. I got one straggler from the bottom there. And I can actually then do an armor rush in. Again, I'm actually rushing. There is a city that's I'm heading for there, which isn't the best for an armored rush. Armor is better in open terrain, but again, this is one of those things that's a bit of a shortcut. I'm going to do the same thing with my infantry here. Pick off all my infantry, quite a bit of them, and I'm going to have them start down this road. And there is a comment on the chat that I could actually send in my troops with stealth mode when I haven't actually declared war on the other region. To some extent, sometimes that works, sometimes more than others. Okay, I'm going to speed up the game a little bit more here. Get my guys going in here. And so what I find in the areas where I'm going through, making some inroads. Obviously, one of the things that I really have to deal with is the fact that the Russian settlements are going to be protected by both garrisons and units. And actually, so what I want to do is probably move these guys up around here. Also at this stage, I probably should have done it earlier. I should make sure most of my units are deployed, but actually they are now. And so when I do have now a situation where I'm getting a little bit bogged down, that's why then we'll start to use some of my air force. So what I tend to do is I tend to get my fighters in an area into one group. So I'm going to put them into control group 1. If I... Let's see if I can get them in there. I think they're in there. So send in some fighter cover, and then... Or interceptor cover, I meant. And then get my fighters, the ground attack, into another control group, and send them into bomb. Still a lot of explosions going on here. It's tuned in machine just a little bit. At least in my ears, it's a little loud. And somebody declared war on me, so let's check what's happening here. Oh, Vichy France. Oh, that's not very nice of them. Oh no, they declared war on the USSR. Okay, I thought they declared war on me, but no, they're just joining in on the battle. So that is very nice of them to try to help me out here. So here, my units, encountered a little bit of resistance from these settlements that were... actually, no, it's not even a settlement. They're just some infantry that were in the front. Because the Russian infantry is not in a deeply protected area, they are going to be more susceptible to my tank attacks. So then I can just sort of drive forward, either drive around them, or otherwise try to get them when they're in the open. So let's see. So modding. Some comments about modding coming up there. One of the things is also we are, and this is also part of the idea of creating more content and more work on the Supreme Ruler engine, is to also have more in the way of modding tools. One of the things we've been wanting to release, and it just hasn't been ready for prime time yet, is our map editor, so people can do more significant changes. That is still our goal, is to be able to release the map editor and more modding tools. Not sure on the timeline on that. It is still something we're working towards. But we're also going to be releasing more information about modding. So as some of you know, we have set up a new wiki on the Gamepedia, the Curses Gamepedia, and we're going to be moving more and more content to that as well. Let's see what we got. Some people attacking India. Some people talking about the different guns. One of the things that's interesting about the equipment list in Supreme Ruler is it covers such a wide range. I mean, we have equipment ranging from the early 1900s up into the future designs. There must be, and I forget the number, but there are easily 8,000-9,000 different pieces of equipment. Some that are regionally specific, some that are not. Because I see here a lot of my units, actually I'm overstacked here, but they've also run out of fuel. I've gotten a little bit ahead of my supply lines. One thing I'll often do, if you hit S, you'll see your supply levels. And as you can see, I'm already pretty low on here. And actually, that's one thing that I do tend to override. I'll go back to my finance minister. Because one thing that is very useful to do is if you go to your social spending, is to increase the infrastructure spending. The infrastructure spending does affect the spread of your supply, and I do like maxing that out. I don't care about necessarily other social things specifically, but maxing that out I find to be very important. Also then go in here, check my stocks. For example, actually I'm relatively low on rubber, but that's the actual use. This seems to be okay. You can take a look at the sustainability. It says I have 11 days of use, but I'm still buying it off the market. One thing I might do here is actually decide to bulk purchase a fair bit of it, especially of a cheaper commodity like rubber. By bulk purchasing it, I can stock up, make sure that I'm not going to have an issue with that. Oil, I got 103 days of sustainability on oil. Given the fact that I'm running a relatively short campaign, I'm probably pretty happy with that. Military goods, 60 days sustainability, not too bad. I probably would pay a little bit more attention to that if I was going to be playing a longer game. The other thing now with these units out of supply here, I could also pull up some transport aircraft, though I don't have too many of those in my inventory. Let's see what I got here. And try to resupply them with a... there's a few transport units. So what I can do is I can select one and then go to the filters. If I can... Oops. Get to the right screen here. And then add my other transport units to it. And then I now have a hotkey for all my transports, so I can send in like a large fleet of transports to resupply an area. Probably should give them some fighter cover too while I'm doing that. And for these stragglers here, send in my ground bombers. The Russians, the Soviets don't really have a significant concentrated air force, so even though they will give me maybe some localized trouble overall, they're not going to really give the Germans too much long-term issues. So I started moving in on the top, and I can see I still have a ways to go for Moscow. So I probably will want to at least start to narrow down some of the peninsula over here. So I'm just going to sort of make a broad form attack. A little more planning, and I would probably again launch my armor a little more in the front of everything, but I'm not taking as much time on that right now. Now the AI needs to pay more attention to supply levels. It actually, the AI tends to, when it has full control, it does try to, especially at the highest difficulty levels, pay attention to supply levels. It will in particular back off units that are damaged and low on supply. So the chances, like here, even though I've pocketed some Soviet Union troops, I haven't pocketed a significant number. Most of them have managed to escape. So let's move some of these guys in to do some mop-up operations. And one of the things, because I have full control of my units, what's happening is my units get damaged, they actually don't go out to repair. So I can actually either individually select units that I want to deal with the repair, select 3 of them, hit the repair unit to tell them to get that taken care of. Or I could temporarily turn up the initiative, which would cause the minister to send units back that are more highly damaged. Let's see here. So just seeing, these infantry units are sort of marching. I mean, one of the things about leg infantry, they are going to follow everyone else through. So they are the slow guys. Let's deal with these guys coming forward here. Bring them to the front. And let's see, I got the exciting city of Slonin. Oh, actually some Polish partisans seem to have taken that over from the Russians. That should probably mean it's easy pickings for me. Let's see what else we got. Where is Mr. Latour? Actually, one of the things that hopefully we can do, if this live stream actually, it does appear to have some viewers, which is nice, thank you very much. We actually used to do a number of, we used to have weekly multiplayer test games in the BattleGoat studios as the game was in development. And those were always fun. But what happened is, between Chris and I, we were always the aggressive ones. Everyone else tried to, take it a little bit easier and maybe play their own, in their own worlds and so on. But Chris and I were the ones who always got at each other's throats and would have the most, significant battles of the games. And so it would be actually fun to have, Chris and I do a live stream at some point where we face off against each other and for old time's sake. So that might be a future thing to do. And definitely our most epic battles have been, Chris and I doing, long lines of artillery and tanks and almost, working on a hex by hex basis because of how precise we had to be to defeat the other guy. And here I am waiting for these units to get more reinforcements. Because again, I am getting beyond my supply lines. And yeah, certainly if there is going to be future developments in with more Supreme Ruler content. Chris is definitely somebody we'd be looking at having part of that, because he's been, as you know, he's been with the Supreme Ruler games nearly as long as David and I have. So he's he has his fingerprints in all of the content that we've managed to put together. Okay, so I got some of my guys here. Again, if I did encounter significant resistance, what I would do is I'd bring some artillery up behind me and sort of pound them into submission and then move in. But at the same time, I know that this is a time-limited thing. I have a lot of ground to cover and a lot of supply issues to deal with. So it is one of those that I don't necessarily get a chance to play this as carefully as I might if I was playing it without a time limit in mind. So let's... one of the things you'll notice, I do like to move my units in formation. I mean, sometimes, as you'll see here, we have overstacked hexes. Those overstacked hexes are significantly under performing. Like once a unit is beyond about 10, or once a hex has beyond about 10 units in it, it will you'll get a big decrease in the attack strength of the units in that hex, and when they take damage, they'll take more damage because they're more crowded. So that is an element of some importance. I'm going to just take a look around in my... I got some British naval bombardments going on here. Oh, I actually have a French partisan I need to get rid of. All those crazy French partisans. Oh. Oh, and Eric's going to do another giveaway. Yeah, he's in charge of giveaways. Just give away stuff. Yeah, so Eric will type on the chat and arrange what exciting giveaways going up, except the goats. You can't give away the goat yet, because that's going to be done towards the end. And we should probably, for the shirts, we should probably give away the shirts to somebody who actually answers some important question about Supreme Ruler or something. I'll have to think of something. Oh, geez. A lot of French partisans going on here. I probably should have paid more attention to that. Yeah, there go the French taking over the Maginot Line again. This is all Charles Gaull's fault. Obviously, if I had some level of minister initiative, he would start whacking these moles for me. But between the British bombing the seashore and so on, but this isn't the battle I'm really concerned about. So I'm going to... One of the things I should have done early on, and to avoid these French partisan issues, is to I can also increase the garrisons in all my cities. I can do that with theater control. For example, you can actually maximize the garrisons in theater. That's going to create automatic garrisons to the maximum of each hex, and so in some case that'll provide a significant first line of defense against some of these partisan activities that's going on. It does take up your unit and manpower, though in this case I still have a relatively significant enough reserve personnel, so I'm not going to worry about that. And back to the front here, I can see that the Soviets are doing some counterattacks, pulling up artillery and infantry. This stack of units has become resupplied, so I'm going to move them forward. Same thing here. Try to sort of hop into this area. And Barnavisi. That seems like a nice place to go vacationing. Down south here, it doesn't look like I'm getting much interference, so I'm going to move in. Check what's happened diplomatically. Leadership from France has returned, and they formed their government in exile because I wasn't paying attention. Romania declared war on the USSR because they're a good Axis puppet, so thank you very much, Romania. Oh, and Hungary too. Good for them to come in. How come I've never seen a live stream from JMG Software International? That's a company name from the past. Of course, JMG Software International was the company that originally made the first Supreme Ruler games. BattleGoat Studios, it's love child, I guess. Of course, when JMG was around, we were dealing with modems and text games, so we didn't do any live streams back then. We should actually do maybe we'll do a live stream of the original Supreme Ruler text game at some point, though. Figuring out how to get that video onto the internet would be interesting. TRS-80s didn't really have a video out. So we're heading towards Minsk. Yeah, see, Romania often fight on both sides at the same time. Yeah, Romania are like that. They're an unpredictable sort of country. They seem to be. Oh yes, they've actually. Since I'm attacking from Romanian territory here, these units in the south are actually are going to be capturing for Romania. Let's move forward to the river there. These guys are getting a little bit bogged down here. So again, I might send in some planes to deal with them so I can get these units moving on. Trying to see where these guys are going to cross the river, probably up here. One of the things as well, you know, rivers are an issue. I mean, I could send in engineers to do bridging and move my units across, though first of all, that can be sometimes a little bit difficult to keep in play, especially if they're getting counterattacked. Units are very slow moving across those types of infrastructure. So it is something, if there is an available fixed bridge, it's a little bit easier to do. It's cool to hang out with you guys. Well, it's cool to hang out with people watching the stream. We should stream more often. Well, if people watch, then we might do that. It is something that, to say this was sort of an experiment, I'm glad it's actually functioned so far, and I actually haven't played this particular scenario in quite a few months. It's you know, times are busy, so it is something that some of the places I tend to get stuck in I might have forgotten, so it should be interesting to see how far I managed to get. More war declarations going on here. Oh, Finland declared war on the USSR. That's very nice of them. And Italian Albania. Yeah, don't see much about Italian Albania. I could also pay attention to some of my other messages here. Well, my construction of a land production, that's my minister taking care of that. That's very nice of them. They've begun research on early guidance systems. Yeah, that'll be useful when I start those V2 rockets onto England later on. And of course the ever popular units lost. I'm probably suffering a little bit more damage than I should because I'm not really taking care of my units. I mean, here the Soviets, as you see, they're actually trying to encircle this group here, so I should actually tighten up this problem so I don't end up getting completely cut off. This is an example again of the types of AI things. You know, the AI will attempt these encirclements, will attempt to cut off forces, especially at the higher difficulty levels. So it is one of those things that doesn't always happen because the AI doesn't always see the opportunity for it. It has to have the supply available and the mobile units available. Really, when you are doing a longer term battle, what tends to shift the balance of power, I guess, is when your AI opponent starts to run out of highly mobile units. When they no longer have tanks or no longer have mobile infantry, then you'll notice them start to really go back in their shell. But while they have a sufficient number of good mobile units, that's when the AI really plays its best game and really tries to use those units as best it can. So let's get these guys moving forward here. Got a little bit bogged down here, but doesn't look like too much trouble. I should have this pal dealt with pretty quickly, so let's just zip around them, and these guys going above the river. This is always when you're playing this scenario, this particular choke point in the Ukraine is always can be some difficulty. In fact, I think in one of the multiplayer games, you know, this was a killing field of people attempting to get through and the defense that's put up. So let's see. So we're getting closer to Minsk. That's going to be one of our a big win for us because it's a highly populated city, so it will give us significant supply boost once we get there. But we still have the Soviets really trying to cut this force off, so And I should be paying more attention to the type of units I'm moving up. Artillery, I shouldn't move toward the front, whereas infantry like this, I should really have them moving in quickly. The leg infantry, I should have backing up some of my things. Leg infantry as well, I can use them to sort of mop up things that I bypass. Got some Soviet or some German subs that look a little confused over here. I'm doing some land bombardment. Again, too, with this one, I have a big group of units in here. Time to send in some ground attack to try to soften them up. Send in some air cover. And then send in some transport units to resupply the guys that are running out of fuel over here. And please tell us how to pronounce your last name. Geczy. Geczy is the... I do respond to a lot of things that are similar, but Geczy is the most accurate pronunciation that I know of. Glad that they rebalanced the volatility settings. Yeah, I think I actually like the... I did post about on both our Steam and our forums about some of the debates, internal debates I went through mostly in my own head about how the volatility settings should be done. And I think we've gotten both with the balance right now and the suggestion to people of adjusting that to match their playstyle. I think it actually is at a good balance right now. I haven't heard much criticism of it since I put it up in beta, so I think probably tomorrow I'll be releasing the beta to the mainstream so that everyone gets that as a download. Yeah, we got some Polish partisans. Oh, and somebody needs reinforcements. Actually, this front is still getting a lot of attention here. A lot of artillery from both sides doing some long-term bombarding. My artillery's gotten exposed, so I actually probably should fix that up. I don't want the plane here. Let's just get the infantry to try to take some spots here. And there are the Russians who are really trying to hold on to stop me on this point and pull me back. And in fact, now I have a significant amount of damaged units that I really should be sending in to repair. If I keep these guys on the front, they are just going to end up in a horrible death. They are walking units, so it's going to take them a while to get back to the nearest base. I also have these artillery here are pretty unprotected. I actually should bring up some units to protect them. Actually, things aren't looking all that great right now. I'm actually going to do a bit of a strategic retreat here because I just am getting myself a little bit too far without my right units in the right places. And always good for fun, see how my stats are doing. Actually, 328 to 244 deaths. That's for the Germans, that's actually pretty bad. The Soviets are almost are heading towards a 1-to-1 ratio, and they just have more. They have more cannon fodder than I do, so this isn't actually a good sign. So yeah, I'm gonna back up some of my guys here. Let's see here. A truck with huge rockets, rocket launcher truck. Oh yeah, and there's some. Both the Soviets like to use their I forget how to pronounce it, Katyushka rockets and so on, which are an artillery unit that's pretty effective for World War II. They also have a lot of anti-air units that come later on in the game that are similar, though not as much in this level of war. So I'm actually going to move some of these infantry guys forward because I really want to make some progress. Oh yeah, okay, so we're going to give the shirt away, so probably should ask some exciting question for the shirt. Oh, we're going to pause the game and go to splash screen. I don't know why, because Eric said so.
And then you can show it off.
Oh yeah, we're going to show off the shirt again. Okay, so have you given away any t-shirt yet or not?
One t-shirt.
Oh, you've given away one t-shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's two, right?
Yeah, there are two. And oh yeah, when you do win a t-shirt, tell us what size you want, because we do have some sizes available, unless you're extra small, in which case we don't. So we'll give away another t-shirt with the big target on the back. Let's see. Maybe I'll come up with some trivia from BattleGoat history. Oh, okay. Here's one. This is actually, and I'll answer this later. But in Supreme Alert 2010, so our original game, it actually came with a real manual. Well, this one's sealed, but we got it somewhere. But oh yeah, there's the real manual, and we actually had a real author write the foreword to the manual, and we're quite proud of that. Actually, I should eventually get that back up on our webpage somewhere. So if you can identify which author of what type of fiction does he write? Sort of military action fiction, I guess. Wrote the foreword to the Supreme Ruler manual. So the first person who identifies that in the chat will win the next T-shirt. And
Also, there's been a question: whose voice is it when they say we need reinforcements?
And a question: whose voice is it when it comes up that says we need reinforcements? The ever popular "we need reinforcements" guy, who also says we took their capital and a couple of other tidbits of excitement. I actually have no idea whose voice that is. That was for those of you familiar with the BattleGoat history of the BattleGoat games. It's come from the 2010, I think, and it's been inherited in every game since. And I really don't know who did that, but sadly it only comes in one language, so you have to hear it in English. And the correct answer came up. Larry Bond is the person who wrote the foreword in 2010. Larry Bond was a co-writer author with Tom Clancy, but I don't think we could afford Tom Clancy. But plus Larry Bond is, from everything I hear, he's a nicer guy. Plus he's the one who's still alive right now. But in any case, so that G.I. Joe 597. Actually, we'll give G.I. Joe the choice. If you want the denim or the T-shirt, you probably want the denim. You can have either one. And so what else we got here? Let's go back to the game for a moment. And let's see what trouble I'm getting myself into. This is also actually a situation where we'll often run in a even slower than normal. I know some people like running the game at a really high speed, but I will. Larry Bond, good Quebecer. Is Larry Bond a Quebecer? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know where he's from. I thought he was an American, but I don't know. So yeah, I would usually run the game at a even slower level, so I could not get my troops cut off like this, and take the beating that they seem to be taking on this front, so I could watch these things more carefully. So in a large battle like this, I would actually rarely play the hot parts at normal speed. I would actually play it even slower. Denim. G.I. Joe's going with denim. Congratulations. And okay, so I've regrouped a little bit, and so the idea of regrouping is to both, so I can stick my infantry toward the front, get them on the front lines. I can get my dying guys back into repair, and sort of I actually put them into reserve accidentally. Let's repair. And maybe, in fact, in this conflagration, I'm going to throw in some more planes, get my ground attack fighters to try to take this back. I can certainly see that I've been losing a lot of units in this battle. So actually, this particular battle of whatever is here, the Battle of Wilno, is going pretty poorly for me. So I'll probably want to bring in some reinforcements and start planning a bit of a counterattack up there. Oh, these guys actually are probably need to clean up their front too, because they've made the breakthrough on this river, and I don't really have to worry about protecting this area too much because of the river. But I'm not in a supply point here, so I probably want to split these guys out a little bit and try to expand my territory. Let's see if I can take this power plant here. And the Romanians, hopefully they can actually deal with the issues. Romanians and Hungarians, I'll attempt to let them deal with this bulge over here. That didn't work well in Stalingrad, but hopefully they can at least handle it here. And then I got some Russian issues I have to deal with. First I'll try to clear up to the river here, and then I'll try to swing back around. Soviets have definitely retaken some territory on me here. Unfortunately, I have a lot of unmobile units. So one of the things as well I can do at this point, might actually... Oh, these tanks actually need to go into repair. Yeah, I'm a little out of practice here. The Soviets are definitely giving me more of a pounding. Why do you leave tech research on auto instead of choosing manually? In a longer game, I would actually probably choose it manually, though I don't find that the AI is necessarily that bad about the things it picks. But in a longer game, yeah, I would, if I knew military was my focus, I would refocus a lot of things to be more military. Let's see what he's researching. He's researching some techs, anti-air. See, in this game, I don't really care about anti-air as much at this stage, though that's going to be useful for the longer term against Britain and the Americans. I would probably put a few more interesting units into the research, maybe a little more on the air power, but he's the minister has decided to do otherwise. Oh, the DEFCON level? Yeah, that's one that had some... Oh, jeez, these guys are really giving me a thrashing here. I'm going to back up a little more here. The DEFCON level is now set automatically by the minister. It was something some people do miss. It was an unusual game mechanic that had certain effects and a certain cost to it. There were pluses and minuses. Oh, jeez, these guys are getting trashed. They're going to die. They're going to die a horrible death. Okay, I really got to counterattack up here because it's I'm finding myself in a bit of a jam. Got a lot of artillery here, but I don't have a lot of mobile units. So I'm going to attempt to get my tanks to do a armored thrust to go through here. Oh, not many tanks left. Oh, that's sort of sad. Oh yeah, we certainly do need reinforcements. Well, reinforcement guy, I think we might have some issues coming up here. Let's move these guys forward. Then at this point, I'm going to go back and see my defense production. I haven't actually maxed out my defense production, so I probably wouldn't hurt to do that because it looks like I'm going to need more guys here. So I'm gonna. And the one problem, this Panzer IV is actually a pretty decent tank. Yeah, let's build some of those. That was a tank that was pretty new at this point in the war. But let's see if I can shore up some of my guys here. Unfortunately, I don't have many mobile units. I just have these walking infantries, which means that the counterattack I do over there is going to be a little bit slow. And as you can see, the AI is sending in units, and as they're getting damaged, then they're moving them back. I mean, I really should be trying to pick these guys off before they can get repaired. I mean, they're at their weakest point here as they're wandering back for repair. As you can see, this entire stack is mostly damaged. If I let them get away, then they're just going to come back and harass me another day. So I'm just giving them way too much rotation. I'm not being able to finish off the Russians at this point. Partisans in the south. Yeah, those Polish guys, they're... I was hoping the Hungarians would deal with them, but... looks like I have to send in some units to fix that. What's going on? I have most of my issues here. Well, still got some issues with the French. And some up there. Is the dev bad at the game or just too good at his job? Thanks, Eric. Can't it be both? I have to admit this isn't my finest hour here. I'm really letting the Russians walk over me way too much, and they've almost. I'm gonna actually try to attack these two forces together here. And then see if I can bring them back into a reasonable package to counterattack or restart my attack over again. Also, some of the units that I built are now back here in some of the things. So I'm going to move them up to the front. There seems to be a significant amount of sinking going on. I'm not sure whose army is sinking. Probably mine. Just trying to find a good base to put these guys to. Let's go see what's happening in the Navy. I mean, some of my Navy has moved out. And there's the this actually has a benefit with the Battle of the Atlantic, meaning that sometimes I'll be punishing. Actually, not on this side. I have to be on the other side for the Battle of the Atlantic. Then I'll be publishing the British supply levels by doing that. But I'm not as worried about that right now. The Italians are mostly wandering around the Mediterranean, so they're doing well. The Italians are actually not doing too badly in Africa, which is a little ahistorical, though they haven't gotten too far. Though they did take Tobruk. Good work, Italians. Didn't know you had it in you. We'll let them deal with that, because we have to go back up here. Okay, so the Soviets seem to have eased off on some of their attacks, so I think they're probably in a resupply, repair phase. So maybe I can attempt to take advantage of that and make this attack again. So I'm going to actually do a... I'm going to actually move units at common speed, which will keep my infantry from getting in advance of my artillery units, or no, the artillery from getting in advance of the infantry units, and sort of have these guys plow through at a little bit more consistent level. It does mean that everything's going to move slow, because move units at common speed is going to make even my tanks move at the infantry speed, but that might actually give me a little bit more of a manageable front as I move these guys. Now these guys I'm actually going to... Oh, we took somebody's capital. I don't know whose capital I took. Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Whose capital did I take? Whoever's capital I took, yay, me. Oh, here it is. Whose capital did I take? Oh, the Free French. I finally... Oh, I've taken Charles de Gaulle's Free French capital, and let's start cleaning up these guys a little bit more. The British are still offshore pounding me with their battleships. Probably should sink them with a couple of subs, but I got other things on my mind here. Okay, so these guys are slowly making some progress. Actually, I probably should divert half of these guys to this direction. And luckily I got some more actual armor and stuff coming up from my reserves, so that actually should speed up my progress a little bit once they show up. So let's see what else we got in the questions. Wish naval AI is better. Yeah, naval AI is one of those things that's particularly tricky. And even if you look at the history of World War II, the naval AI, naval AI, the Winston Churchill's AI, Winston Churchill and the naval approach taken by both the Germans and the Allies changed over the war. And for example, Germany had a lot of success with the U-boats in the first couple of years of the war, and then the Allies changed their tactics entirely and were able to counteract that. So it's one of those things that even in real life it was a hit and miss, getting things that work versus things that didn't. But yeah, in the game, the naval AI has its strengths. There are some weaknesses. Like one of the big weaknesses is carriers. The AI really can't use carriers well. I admit that. Historically, carriers were a thing that only was strongly used in certain elements of World War II. If you look before and after, carriers were not significant war elements. I mean, now the U.S. uses carriers simply when they can't afford to lease or can't find a friend in the region and need to pull up some assets. They'll bring one of their carriers in, but it's really not used as a naval platform against other naval threats. But yes, so the AI could... I think AI do a good job of a U-boat hunting, for example. Like they'll do the German AI will send, if I gave them full control, they would send their U-boats into the North Atlantic and patrol and damage shipping. But that's on almost a unit by unit basis. They don't. The AI doesn't really do fleets well, so I do admit that. But it is something that even a human player has to do them very carefully. Fleets are a difficult thing to. They require sort of a niggly bit of micromanaging to deal with. Okay, I'm gonna select all of my air units in this area, send them into repair because I noticed a lot of them were getting heavily damaged. When I send them into repair, as they do get, if they're 100% or as they get repaired, they'll pop back out, so I can start using them again. Yeah, carriers bug you a lot. Well, I mean, yeah, the carriers is one of those things that is just oops, these guys need to go in for repair. I wish there were easier ways to automate carriers without getting well, it is one of the more difficult things that, just even deciding what types of strategies the AI should use with carriers and how they should deploy them. So we have tried for some improvements on over time, but really the AI will use carriers more as just a backup for the another unit, or even sometimes even as a single element instead of in a fleet way. Let's see what else we got. Give your Steam code to your girlfriend and make her play. There you go. Okay, so I'm finally making my attack on Minsk here. I think if I can grab Minsk, if you notice, Minsk actually has, well, it has an airfield, and then right behind it there's this barracks that he's using to resupply and repair his units. So if I can actually break him here, then I think I'm going to have a significant benefit. So I'm going to need to pull in some artillery behind these infantry to start making some inroads. I might actually be able to, looks like I might actually be able to get around him a little bit. Oops. I left some undefended artillery, which the Russians were all too happy to deal with. So let's send in these guys. Got some nice, what are these? Some Panzers and anti-tanks. Panzer 3s, yeah, they're pretty good against armor. Yeah, they're still giving me some interesting problems here. Let's see how we're doing in the south. Actually, I think I pretty much have control over this. I just need to, let's take this thing as a supply point, and then I should be able to spread my way out from here. Let's bring these guys into the pack. The Romanians haven't collapsed, which is nice, and I think I can actually send these... Oh, I'm not sure how well they're going to do over here. I'll leave my troops in behind, but send these guys over to get ready to take some new territory. Please? Oh yeah, sorry. Mail messages in the way. Yeah, it was a big screen. I didn't see that because I was focusing on my despair over here. Okay, I got a lot of air units I'm not using. Now some bombers and stuff. They're not even in groups. I'm going to put them in a new group. Let's just send in some bombing parties here. That's an interceptor party. Oh, apparently I took Soviet Lithuania. Actually things seem to have stabilized over here. Now if I can get past these tanks over here. Maybe a little bit more artillery in behind might help. Oh, that's not going well. Oh, he noticed those troops were all badly damaged and took advantage of that. So the AI just sort of ran in, did the kill, and ran away. So opportunistic. Yeah, I would, as I mentioned earlier, wouldn't you know, under ordinary situations, play this a little slower so I could actually manage more of the units individually. But given how much time there is on the stream and the fact that time is going so quickly, doesn't look like I'm going to get all that close to Moscow. Where's Moscow? Let's do way over there. Be interesting to see where Germany got to at the beginning of August. I think they got much farther than I managed to. Oops, hitting my thing here. Let's see. Oh, there come their units back out. Okay, I want to get my defective guys back into repair here, so I can actually launch a decent counterattack. Looks like my armor is making some inroads there, but it's actually more of the infantry suffered the damage. Yeah. Actually, where are they? Where are you? So, oops. Hello. Okay, got stuck. There it goes. Oh, that's an anti-tank unit. Oh. I shouldn't really be attacking with the anti-tanks. Anti-tanks are definitely much better on defense. Let's pull in some artillery in behind these guys. Let's shore up my infantry line over here so I don't get massacred. This also has some pioneer infantry, which are the engineer infantry. Very strong infantry. Those are serious guys to deal with. Okay, we're sort of drawing out the battle lines for the Battle of Minsk here, so I think I'm going to try to get some of my armor moved forward. Stop abandoning some of my units in the middle of nowhere. Let's see. Yeah, you have to focus on something, either research or war. Oh, whoa, that's Polish partisans. Don't they know I have a war to run here? Wow, jeez. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, so this time I'm going to call in, so I'm gonna redo all my fighters on this front. And then redo all my interceptors on this front into a number group. I don't care about the patrol. Okay, so I got 33 ground attack fighters, 14 interceptors. So for Minsk, I'm going to send in these guys, send in my bombers, cover them with interceptors and behind, and then move in my ground units. Probably should send in somebody to deal with these things, patrol units. Yes, that need reinforcements guy. He always sounds so hopeful. Yeah, too many exposed artillery. Yeah, that is the majority of my losses. I think they really are not being protected nearly as much as I should. Artillery do get protected when they're in the same hex as a defensive unit. So if you have artillery in the same hex as a tank or an infantry, they will be the last one to be hit in a direct attack. So not a bombardment type of attack. But ideally, you're going to want them on behind, because if they are in the same hex and the guy protecting them dies, then the artillery are easy pickings. Okay, let's call in some more air support here. This is getting pretty... The Soviets really don't want me to take Minsk. Yep, quite a furball over here. Yes, I'll use that excuse. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. That's why I'm playing so badly. So it's, as you can see, the Soviet Air Force really hasn't even given, and there are some of them around, but they're really not giving me too much trouble at all. It is just the Soviet concentration of ground forces around here. Oh, these guys are really doing badly. Let's get them out of here. Uh-oh. I probably should have done more to protect this northern flank here, but... let's see here. And let's just check to see how partisan activity has been going on. Oh, those French. They're like moles. Whack-a-mole. Okay. Now back to Minsk. Yeah, this is... let's send in the air power once more. And usually what I'll do is I'll tend to use air power in these ways until a significant number of them get damaged. Then I'll try to send them back for a refit sort of repair cycle. And then I'll use them heavily again. So it does mean that, you know, sometimes if you do use them a lot, they will get severely damaged, and then when you need them to shore up a major enemy attack, then you're not going to have them. Okay, so this is where you wanted reinforcements. I don't even know where that is. Oh, over there. Oh, really? Let's actually make sure. Oh, and just for one of the things that I probably should have done, just to make sure all of my garrisons are maximized in my new territories, I can turn on the maximized garrisons, and that way it will build them up in the places that I've just captured. Okay, so well, this doesn't look like it's going to go great, but let's move in another section here. And I mean, I could also use some more interesting techniques that take a little bit more planning. I could have used paratroopers to try to pop in behind lines and capture a couple of key cities. That would actually eliminate the ability for these reinforcements to come down the road so quickly. So, for example, if I could have captured, Barisal over here, that would have prevented a significant flow of units coming through. Though it would take a fair bit of effort, and also watching it to be able to do that with paratroopers. And it's one of those things that you don't really have the resources to do on a ongoing basis. Send in my bombers again. Apparently I'm capturing somebody's ancestral home pretty soon, so that'll be nice. Oh, I've conquered France again? I certainly don't want to liberate them. Yeah, I definitely want to keep it under my own control. That Charles de Gaulle guy is really... At least now he's no longer has a foothold in territory, so... and here they're trying to loop around me, so... Probably be best to use a bit of air power to knock them out. Let's move in here. Yeah, this is not as much in the way of mobile forces as I was hoping. A lot of badly damaged units here. Let's see here. Gonna try to pick off some of my more badly damaged guys and yeah, send them back into repair. So I say there are a couple of other ways of doing this too. I could give temporary minister control, and that would be one of the first things he'd done. I could also play with some of the other settings that are in the... Oops, some of these are dying as I'm selecting them. Other settings for loss tolerance and so on that will allow the units to automatically deal with this themselves. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Looking for mobile units I have to address these issues over here. Well, these guys are doing well. let's focus on the front I'm actually not dying in. Okay, let's see what else I got in my reserves here. Let's pull these guys up front. Best idea for taking Minsk is attacking it in 3 fronts. Yeah, if I had more in the way of a few more highly mobile units, I'd definitely be doing more of the encircling. But yeah, at this stage, that is my grand plan. But he's certainly making it a little more difficult on me here. Let's keep trying to do it with some air power. Let's see here. Okay, I think we have one more t-shirt to give away, so let's see, while I'm dying here in Minsk. Oh, it's so sad. Let's see how far Moscow is. Not getting in closer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have managed to severely underperform the historical aspect of this game. Yeah, looks like a lot of, yeah, starting to look a little bit better. I think some of my air power has helped. Yeah, so there might be more of them in reserve right now being repaired. So I think if I can knock out their base, then I actually might yeah, hope Eric's keeping track of who's won what, because I'll have to deal with it all later. Okay, for the other t-shirt, if somebody can, let's see, I don't think it's on the screen right now. So if somebody can guess how many units I've lost, I'll pull up the number on August 14th. So the number of units that have been, whoever gets closest to the number of units that I as Germany have lost when I pull up the number on August 14th. Oh geez, wow, this is really looking bad here. Calling in more air power. I got some infantry down here, but they're so far we have 600 as a guess. Anyone else going for the number of units I've lost at the end of the day on August 14th? Oh, I'm letting them get away. Yeah, I'm down to actually 9 fighters that are in good shape, and this guy's actually pretty dead here. Gonna be down to 8 fighters in good shape. Okay, I probably should have brought this force in because my main attack force is really getting decimated here. Okay, we got some numbers going. 260. I'm sure it's a lot more than 260. So we got a few more hours on the clock, and then I'll pull up the number and whoever's closest. Though the number is increasing right now. Doesn't look like I'm gonna pull off this Minsk capture. Okay, so here comes the number. 712. So if Eric can figure out whoever's closest to 712. Oh, and my kills were 666. Oops. Okay, let's pull in the air power. Yeah, I sort of rubber banded this attack at the end here, which wasn't wise. Looks like I'm gonna get Minsk, but with dead people. I mean, I really have to. Actually, I have to send this force into repair. They're just not. They're not gonna pull this off. Let's bring in. Oh, send those guys into repair. Yeah, just looks like I got Minsk, but it was pretty Pyrrhic. It's Let's see if I can... Well, I am pretty certain I will not be seeing Moscow by winter. Actually, these guys can move forward. Actually, let's... I need this guy. Oh, Japanese spy. Thank you, Japan, for spying on this random city in the middle of nowhere. I could have probably also used spies to try to figure out what's the failed battle for Minsk. It will go down in history. Okay, let's see if I can... Actually, I have a fair number of bombers that I haven't killed off yet. The nice thing about bombers versus the fighters go in as close air units, and so they can be shot at by the ground units. Bombers are generally protected against ground attack, so they can be attacked by other air units, and just a couple of military units will take care of them. So bombers, while you have a strong bomber force, are a nice way to soften up enemies, and that's why you want a fighter force to oppose the enemy's bombers. Can you buy the shirts? Not really. We did while we had our attempt at a Kickstarter before we did Supreme Ruler 1936. They were one of the items in the Kickstarter awards, I think. But we don't really have too many of them. They're used for special occasions. Oh yes, and towards the end we have to give away the BattleGoat. Free-range BattleGoats. They are very, very rare. Oh, come on, Minsk. Thought I had you. Die already. One of the things is the Russians are also, as well as their annoying tanks, they are using a fair bit of artillery behind their main line here, and so that is decimating some of my units as they're coming up. So I'm really having some issues there. Walk faster. I don't know what to do with these guys right now. I'm just happy they're not getting killed. Okay, let's shore up this a little bit here. No, I shouldn't lead with infantry. Or artillery. Somebody wants to fight me for one. That's only because you see how badly I'm doing on this particular battle. I still don't have Minsk. Oh, did I mention the point of this live stream wasn't to take Moscow, it was to take Minsk. That's my goal now. Sometimes you just have to change your priorities as life hands you new challenges. Okay, so I got some walking infantry coming up here, so I'm down to... Let's see what I got in my ear. Do I have some... Oops. What did I do? I froze it up again here. Oh, sorry. Let's get myself going again here. Air units. I wanted to see what I got in reserve here. Actually, I got some decent not dead units in reserve, so let's get them out. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom out here to pull up all my air reserves at least to closer air bases. Then they're going to reposition themselves automatically to not be overstacked, but at least they'll all be on this front. So I'm just going to pick there, and then they'll all sort of readjust themselves to be nearby. So I can... I don't really care about my air force in the back right at the moment as much. Oh, this thing again. I really gotta stop letting them do this. Cutting off my supply lines like that.
We need reinforcements.
Yeah, sure. I'll put that on my list. Yes, Guderian, his tactics were much better than mine. You should definitely read some of his... he has a book called Achtung Panzer that is actually one of the first books to define Panzer battle techniques. I actually used some of his ideas to train the AI for how it deals with tanks and armored warfare. Clearly, I've forgotten portions of the book myself, but stop counterattacking, stupid Russians. I could use some more artillery to soften these guys up, but see, I'm probably going to pull from this front because he's not attacking around here, so I'm going to leave myself open, but he could actually then counterattack and close this gap entirely. And these guys are trapped by a river, so I'm actually going to have some trouble getting across here because it's... Actually, where is the river? Yeah, narrow river. Yeah, this isn't the bridge. The river's on the other side, so I'll really have to work my way up over here. Yep. Well, let's see what's happening in the death zone. Oh, they've actually put up another gap between me and Minsk. So let's see how much we got. About 20 minutes left in the live stream, and Minsk is still holding out there. I thought I'd actually be able to... Oh yeah, so now that I moved some of the air power forward, I'm going to regenerate my number groups so I can pull in more air units. Now I don't need the patrols. So, fighters, let's do... Fighters is group 1. And... send them in. The bombers is group 3. Oh, it's transports. What did I do with my bombers? Bombers is group 4. Send them in. Let's check for reserves. 14 units in reserve. Oh, that's not going to do me much good. Oh, and there's a... what is there? There's a small French partisan issue again. Just because they can. There's a Belgian partisan issue. Let's send these guys to the front. To the Eastern Front you go. No more Western Front for you. Oh, Achtung Panzer was required reading in the Canadian Armed Forces? Armored Forces? That's actually pretty cool. Oh, we took somebody's capital. I don't know whose. Oh, boy, that De Gaulle just keeps popping up and dying again. Oh, and you see now he's pocketed these units, and so now I'm in supply trouble here. Oh. The Romanians aren't giving me a big hand here. They can't even finish off this. Crazy Romanians. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Kopigid. And sorry I wasn't able to amaze you with my brilliant tactician prowess here. Wow, I have very few units on this front. It says I have 1,000 deployed units. I don't know where they are. Let's see how many land units. 600 deployed land units. Where is everybody? Okay. This is sort of a strong point, so let's see if I can... Well, I saw a lot of units driving around there. I'm going to fly some interceptors over here and see what sort of crap he has behind them. Yeah, he's... Well... Oh, that actually wasn't a good idea for the interceptors. Or... Actually, I don't know who's dying there. Was it me or him? Oh, actually, no, that wasn't interceptors. I flew bombers over there. So we were both dying. Except those bombers were meant for Minsk. Ground attack fighters. Indeed, I would pay for an expansion new game. That's good, because if we do sell one, that's gonna be our plan. What, the little games? They're just sell sheets. Anybody wants them? Eric is asking if if anybody actually wants one of those little posters. Hold on here, I'll show you what they want it looks like once I hit the right key. Yeah, So there's a little poster behind me over there. If anybody wants one of those, I can mail you one. So just shout up in the stream, and first few people who do, I'll just send you one. If you're so inclined. Let's see here. Oh yeah, back to my death. Yeah, okay, so there's some tanks going in for reinforcements, so let's pick them off with my fighter group. Send in the bombers. And let's move these infantry guys forward. Actually, oh, I think I might almost be able to get Minsk this time. Let's see. Looks like the Russians might actually be running a little low on their Minsk defense force. No, just the Supreme Ruler posters. Everything else is Eric's. Really, this force here really should be killing people, but right now it's I'm worried about a counterattack. Oh, looks like he's retreating from his base. He's given up on this this base now. So all his stuff is retreating into. Let's see if I can pick some of them off on their running away. Looks like he's finally given up on Minsk. Send in another bomber run. Oh, that's transport. Okay. He's got some tanks, but it looks like his barracks is... Oh, we've actually captured Minsk. Yay! And that base is now in trouble, so yeah. A little bit of more air power and I should have... Yeah, he's running away from it now. Okay, where do we need reinforcements? I don't know. Okay, guys. You're almost there. Walk faster. Oh, well. Even more guys running away. So here you can see actually how many units he had in repair at the base there, because you know, he had to pull back from his last attack. And so now he's sending those units off to another more distant base for their repair goodness. Okay, I've almost stabilized myself here. I mean, I wouldn't mind mopping up this back area, but that would be... It'll take a little bit of time to do with walking guys, unfortunately. It'd be much easier if I had a nice strong tank force at this point. Okay, so we got Minsk. What are these units doing over here? Oh, they're sort of huddling in this other village, but they should be easy enough to dislodge because there's no base on that. And looks like I might finally... Yeah, I finally got the Minsk base. And so now he has to regroup behind me. And oops, let's get these guys in to take that. And then let's take a look. Wow. And it would be nice to tie up these forces, or tie together these forces here, though I have to finish taking this bit of real estate. Which I actually probably should be able to do with pounding them out a little bit with artillery. I should tie these back up together. Minsk was the true capital of the USSR. There we go, yes. Everybody knew when Minsk would fall, that's when the war would end. September. So September, October, November. I mean, there's still 4 months to do it by the end of December. But one of the things that I've done here is that I've lost most of my mobile forces. Let me get myself. Oh, what's going on over here? Oh, there's some stuff going on in the Middle East. Oh, and the Italians are doing surprisingly well. So they are going through the desert instead of the more traditional stay close to supply system. But they're Italians. They did weird things in the war. So yeah, so here, I mean, let's see how many. If I ask for all my tanks, let's see how many I got. Let's scroll up here. What's there? There's 32. So in the entire all fronts, I only have 32 tanks, tank battalions left. So I definitely sacrificed way too many of those without enough care, and so that lost me a lot of my mobile formations. I mean, now that I have Minsk taken over, he can no longer repair his units so close to the front. So I should actually be able to would probably, given another couple of weeks, be able to solidify this front, maybe tie together these pieces so I could actually get the front up to this point. But then the next major hurdle would be crossing this river, which I forget its name, and then in taking Kiev, which, if you recall historically, one of the issues that the Germans did in the drive to Moscow is they ended up a significant number of Soviet forces were bottled up in the Ukraine, and the Germans decided to trap and destroy those before finishing their march on Moscow. So that was a decision that they made that some people feel was the wrong one for their success. I didn't I sort of badmouthed the Italians in World War II. So that's not actually bad-mouthing all Italians, that's just bad-mouthing World War II Italians. Yeah, that's an entirely different subdivision. Okay, so let's see. I think we're probably... That wasn't nearly as militarily successful as I hoped, but I think we'll probably wrap it up. So we have a goat to give away. Let's see, what should we do for the goat giveaway?
Do a code on the goat? I don't know how many codes you want to give away. If I can do one more code and one more code.
Oh, one more... What?
Code.
Code. Oh yeah, one more code. We'll do one more code, and then we'll do the goat. So there's a code. So Eric will handle a Subliminal Ultimate code giveaway next, and then I'll figure out a suitable question for the goat. Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to give my minister full initiative and just see what it does. So let's give him a maximum initiative on everything, and then let him take over here. So what he's going to do, he's probably going to try to expand some of these areas out using some units. So where there's no opposition, he's going to try to press it out. He's going to probably try to capitalize on some of the gains in some areas, and then also send a lot of units that are damaged back into reserve. They probably won't use the air power as much. So I mean, I can still, for example, take a look at where he's having some issues and send in that fighter group. I still have 30 fighters in my group that are still alive, so I could try to soften things up. You know, it looks like he might need some help down here. And let's see, question for the BattleGoat. What would we... A rare free-range BattleGoat. Yeah, let's see. Okay, here's the question. The very first Supreme Ruler game. So I'm gonna switch over to the other screen here for a moment. So the first original Tier City Supreme Ruler game. What year was it released? first person to answer that question wins a rare free-range BattleGoat. So with that, let's see how the AI is done. Yeah, so you see, the minister is trying to tie these pieces together, and I think that'll let him start cleaning up the mess over here. He is actually using that force that I had, my reserve force in Lithuania here. He's using that to move out a little bit. And G.I. Joe squeezes in on a few seconds over average gamer. It looks like 1982 is the correct answer. I should have changed it on Wikipedia beforehand and then seen which one of you would have gotten it wrong. But 1982 is the correct one for the magic thing. So anyway, let me get back to the game here. I think he was the first. Yeah, 1982 was the correct answer, so whoever got that one first. Yeah, let's see what's going on in the background there. Ooh, that's weird. Something... Oh, North Atlantic convoy attacked. Yay me! Looks like I gave the... looks like some marauding unit gave the British some trouble here. But looks like I also lost a few things up here. Oh, and looks like I attacked... My navy had made an attack into Newcastle upon Tyne, if that's how you say it. It's a very long name. Can't we just call it Newcastle? I don't know. Let's see. Looks like some of my subs got picked off in the middle of the North Sea here. And some subs looks like we lost a few. Oh, North Atlantic convoy was attacked. So yeah, my AI has been giving the British some trouble up there. Okay, so we answered before we even finished the question. Thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you found this interesting. And hopefully we can do that again because, well, I had fun doing it, but I was just talking. So let me switch to the other screen because Eric says that would be a wise thing to do. So thank you everybody, and maybe next time I'll actually take more than Minsk. But yes, like as I said earlier on, I find this one to be difficult at the high difficulty level. Well, that's what high military difficulty is for. It's a tricky scenario that involves you really have to use your combined forces well, making sure that your tanks are used to make breakthroughs, but not sacrifice, because you need that number of tanks to be mobile. Then you have your mounted infantry behind them, and use your walking guys to mop things up behind. Use the artillery carefully in front of the front lines, and make sure that they don't get picked off, because the AI will pick them off when they get undefended. So I think it really shows a lot of the features of the game, and also the technical the tactical challenges involved. I mean, one of the things about the different Supreme Ruler scenarios we have, a lot of people say, a lot of scenarios are imbalanced, and that's true. That's because they were. I mean, Germany against Poland, well, that was naturally imbalanced when played as a scenario, unless you do it with certain time limits of trying to do things in a certain way. Countries in the world are rarely balanced in their capabilities, so Supreme Ruler gives you the chance to play the game in a lot of different ways. Certainly, if you want the challenge, play the ever-popular Andorra and take over the world. I don't know if anyone's actually successfully done that without cheats. I think it's impossible, but who knows. So, again, Happy New Year, everybody. All the best for the coming 2017. Definitely some more Supreme Ruler updates to come, no matter what. There is a content update I have to release. I asked you to vote on, a couple of months back, actually last month, I asked you to vote on who should be the Supreme Ruler's leader in the 2020 scenario for the US. It's sort of like the EA's sports figure on their cover, except not nearly as prestigious. And the vote did come out that Donald Trump does survive to the end of his term, so he will be our official US leader in the 2020 scenario, replacing, well, we have two versions. We have one scenario where Hillary Clinton was the leader, and another where I think Jeb Bush was. Both of them shall depart to other pastures, and Donald Trump will be put in place. We will, of course, also have to adjust some relations to go with that. There's also a couple of European election issues that have come up that have changed some of our content. So we'll have a upgrade to that maybe in the next couple of weeks at some point. And yes, another big thank to Eric for his technical assistance and giving out the swag and stuff. So mucho thanks on that front. And I guess we will see you all next time. Bye. Where's the off button? I don't know where the off button is. See ya.
Oh, it's all tapped. Yeah.